So if your goal as a teacher is to keep teaching but have more impact, work on your own terms, and finally get paid what you deserve, stick around, because I'm breaking down the 5 biggest reasons why teachers are ditching the classroom for online tutoring in 2025. And number 3 might just blow your mind. So let's get started. So here's 5 reasons why teachers are switching to online tutoring in 2025. And if you stick to the end of this video, I'll also share with you 5 steps that you can take to make that transition from teacher to full-time online tutor, so you can gain more time freedom, have way more impact, and earn income that you deserve for teaching online. So let's jump in. Here's reason 1. Reason 1 is time freedom. The difference between teachers and full-time online tutors is their teaching schedule to be able to do what they want. Here's an example of a full-time teacher's schedule. They go into school, they have to commute, so maybe they start making that commute about 7 a.m. They get into school, they teach maybe from 8:30 or 9 a.m. until the end of the school day, and then they have to wrap up, and then maybe they have to do some work in the evenings, and not to mention the weekends with all the marking and planning that goes with the teaching profession and the unpredictable demands that take place as well. So what does the average online tutor schedule look like? Here's an example. So the average online tutor to go full-time would be looking to teach 10 groups a week, okay? Now that means, 10 group classes a week, which would be 5 groups, but seeing you twice, okay? So that's 10 teaching hours per week that you would be working with your students, which leaves the rest of the day up to you, okay, to work on the business, speaking to potential new students. Maybe you're doing a little bit of prep for your students, but you don't have to commute. This gives you way more time freedom and flexibility with your teaching schedule. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is more impact. So if we go back to these group classes, now in a school, you're capped on the amount of students that you can truly help, right? But when you start to teach online as an online tutor, you get to choose how many students you want to help. So you can have more impact, which is why a lot of teachers, of course, got into the profession in the first place. So let's take over here, for example, group number 1. Okay, now group number 1 sees me twice a week. Let's say this is a Monday, and over here, this is a Wednesday. Now let's say that that's 5 students in that group. Let's say this is group 2, sees me twice a week, another 5 students. Let's say across the 5 groups, I've got 5 students in a class. Okay, that's 25 students total. Now this is just mere minimum. I've got a couple of options from here. I can increase my group size to whatever size that I want, or I have the option of now hiring other teachers to help me inside of my business as an online tutor once I get to that point. So this can be almost just duplicated out. You hire your next tutor, and therefore what happens is, of course, you double this. Let's say you decided to cap your student group sizes, maybe at 10 students per group. So one teaching schedule could be 50 students. Now, duplicate that to another tutor, that could be 100 students. That's if you keep the groups just at 10 per group. Now, we've got teachers, and this does depend on what subject you teach as well, and the age range and things like that. But we worked with teachers who sometimes are teaching upwards of 100 students in a class. Now, that might be for older age students, but of course, if you decide to limit your group classes to a much smaller amount, you just need to make sure that you hire other teachers to help you, and that's how you're going to grow. But of course, the impact is unlimited because you can now serve students from all around the world. You are not restricted to the students that just attend that specific school that you teach and work at, okay? So that's reason 2, is impact. Reason 3 is income. So here's how this breaks down. Now, bear this in mind, that let's say that the average teacher works 208 hours a month. As we said, that's 52 hours a week times 4. Now, if the average teaching salary, let's use the United States, for example, that's $3,800 per month is the average teaching salary. In the UK, it's about $2,500, give or take, okay? Now, let's say that the average day then, based off those numbers, is about 10.4 hours per day, okay, of work that you're doing. Not just the actual teaching, but the time that you're investing and putting into the job. Yeah, to getting to work, the planning, the prep. It's about 10.4 hours per day on average. Therefore, in the US, that equates to about $18 an hour. Okay, in the UK, that equates to about £12 an hour. So that's what teachers are getting paid on average as a teacher. Not very good, right? Obviously, depending upon what you teach, where you teach, the location, okay, your specific position in the school, it could be higher, it could even be less, all right? But I've used averages. Now, if we were to then load up this group schedule as an online tutor, here's what this would look like. The average student, once you get started, you would probably start at about $500 per student or £500 per student, and the student will sign up for about 12 weeks with you, okay? So let's say if I had 25 students in each of these classes, and that would be just me as minimum, okay, at minimum, just me just doing all the teaching for 10 hours with my 5 groups, 5 students in a group, 25 students total, 10 hours teaching, and each of those students paid me £500 or dollars for a 12-week sign-up. That's 12.5 grand, okay? Now, once I've got some student results, I'd probably also increase my rate. So I'd be charging now 1 grand potentially. Okay, and we've got teachers charging way more than that we've worked with here at the Teacher Project. But let's say that you grew it out to about £1 grand for 12 weeks. Okay, now that would be 25 grand across those 25 students for a 12-week period. Let's say that over the course of an entire year, you have maybe 3 semesters or 3 school terms that the students are working with you for. Okay, so times that number by 3. If you were charging £1 grand, you'd be making 75 grand a year with just 25 students. If you were charging just $500 a student for a 12-week sign-up and you maxed out your classes, then that's about 37.5 grand per year. And again, this is just you at minimum, because now you're not working in a school where you are completely capped, like you see this on the screen. You have the ability to increase your rates, increase your group sizes, and also hire other teachers. So the scale is pretty much unlimited. Okay, so that's reason number 3. Reason number 4 then is more autonomy. So when I turn up to these, when I have my teaching schedule, like you see on the screen, I am told what to teach, right? There is a curriculum, and whether I agree with that or whether I disagree with the curriculum, there is a framework and a methodology that we have to follow. Okay, we are bound by that curriculum. We have to make sure that we are taught what is in it, whether we agree with that style and method of teaching or what is being taught or not. So we don't have much autonomy. Okay, now when we teach online and we have our own online tutoring business, I get to decide as the tutor what I teach group 1, what I teach group 2. It can be completely different, group 5, group 3, group 4. Whatever I want to teach, I can teach them. Whatever I feel is the best way to get the students the results and educate them and move them towards their desired goal, I have complete autonomy of that. And not just autonomy in what I teach. If I don't want to run a class on this particular time, I can completely change the time that I have my classes. It's my business. I'm in control. I get to choose when I teach and who I teach. So there's way more autonomy. And plus, you don't have to teach kids that don't necessarily want to be there and deal with all of the behavior issues as well, okay? Because you get to choose who you enroll into your online tutoring classes. You have autonomy and you're in control. And then the last reason is travel, okay? So if you were to teach in a school like this, you would have to do this for the entire term or semester. What then happens is you have a school break, you have a holiday. So you're either going to use that school break or holiday to, whether it's a half term, whether it's a summer holiday, the Easter break, spring break, whatever, you get to choose if you stay at home to recover because you're tired and exhausted or catch up with work, or you get to choose if you want to go away. Now, the issue is with that, of course, the prices to travel during the school holidays are way more than what it is during term time. So if I have a teaching schedule that I'm in control of, like what an online tutor would have, then I can choose when I go away. Plus, because I can teach from my laptop, I can also decide to travel and teach at the same time if I want to, which means I don't get stung by those high extortionate travel costs. And I get it, you might be watching this because a lot of teachers have their own kids. You might be thinking, but I've got my own kids at home and they can only go in the school holidays. I have 3 kids too. Okay, however, it's always possible to get someone in the family to be able to help you. So whether you go away just for short weekend breaks and you get to travel and visit, if that's your goal more, then you can absolutely do that. But at the same time, you don't have to be bound to Zoom in the comfort of your own home. Zoom is on your laptop. You can take it wherever you want and you can teach from wherever you are in the world. So it means you don't need to cancel your lessons. If you're an in-person teacher, for example, and you were running a business in person, well, then the only way that you could keep making more money and serving your students if you stayed in that fixed location. So online tutoring gives you complete flexibility and ability to travel more and visit wherever you want in the world as well. Okay. Now, guys, quick interrupt. I hope you're enjoying the video, but I wanted to make sure you picked up your copy of Teaching on Your Own Terms. It's my best-selling book, and it shares with you the exact 5 steps that I've used with over 2,000 teachers at this point, helping them build their dream online teaching businesses. It went to bestseller in 7 categories. It's been featured by NASDAQ in Times Square, New York City. And I know you're going to love it. Inside of the book, you're going to learn things like how to position yourself as the go-to tutor in the marketplace and the offer that you can create to get your ideal students reaching out and how to communicate that. I'll share with you what I've seen as the best advertising strategies to get in front of new students and parents who want what you've got, how to sell your services, and everything you actually need to include in an online group tutoring business to make sure your students crush it and get great results. There's some free gifts and bonuses in there. I think in the first couple of pages, there's a link. You can go and grab some free gifts on me. But I know you're going to love it. Teaching on Your Own Terms. I'll leave a link down below in the comments and go and pick up your copy today. To round this off, here then is 5 ways that you can start, or 5 steps to help you make that switch to online tutoring. So the first thing is to identify your ideal student. Now, the reason why this is really important is twofold. One, so you attract students and can actually be grouped and put into these group classes, and you don't start selling your time teaching students one-on-one. The next reason is if you identify one type of student, that then you're going to be down the line, be able to charge a premium because they see you as the expert and the authority for helping that particular student. Whereas if you go out and teach anyone, you pull in the student who needs help with this subject or has that ability, who wants help with this, and therefore they can't be grouped very well. And plus, you just look like another pebble on the beach. Okay, so the first step, identify one type of student you're an expert at helping. So think about the subject, the age range, and what result you're going to help them achieve. The next thing is to create a founding student offer. This is great if you're just starting from scratch. Okay, now if you're not starting from scratch, you've already got students, I would start with something like I said earlier in this video, whether it's $500 or £500 or even $1,000 for about a 12-week period for a student. And that's if you've already started selling your services online. If you're starting from scratch, however, this is for you. Okay, what you would do is you create a founding student offer to get your first group of students up and running so you can make that transition. You would charge probably about $100 or £100 for 30 days, maybe even 6 weeks. Now, you would teach the students in 1 group class per week at that point. You wouldn't do 2 when you're just getting started with this founding student offer. And then you would have a start and end assessment to assess how the students have done. Now, what that would be your offer, and of course, is not forever. It's just to get your first group of students running. And so to make sure you can get the students, you don't need to go far. You just need 5 students to form that first group. So you could work out all of the contacts that you have on all of your social media profiles. So you could count them up: Facebook, Instagram, maybe you've got an email list, maybe you've got a phone book of contacts, and you send them all a message and you tell them what you're starting and your vision for your students, and that you're doing something special for just 5 students to get some expert help from you. Now, not necessarily all of your friends or contacts are going to have someone who fits that bill, but they will know somebody So you don't need to spend any money on advertising or marketing. You go to your own audience. You contact everybody on all of those platforms and you will be able to get yourself 5 students. You get in touch with whoever they put you in touch with, or whether it's your friend has this particular type of student, and then you offer them this founding student offer, and you let them know it's for the first 5 students only. After the 30 days, once they've done an end assessment, you get some feedback. You collect a testimonial. You interview a video testimonial from all of your founding students, and this also becomes the deal breaker. They must agree to be able to give you a testimonial, and if you tell them why you're doing it, then they're going to be more willing to do so, and that's why they're coming in at a very reduced rate. This is going to help you with long-term success because testimonials are everything. People pay for results, right? So results for your online tutoring business means more sales. So it's in your best interest in the beginning to collect these testimonials. And so this is an absolute steal for you. It's a great deal for you and it's a great deal for the student. It's a win-win. Okay, you get to get some testimonials, and now after you've got that, you can increase your rate to the rates that I was explaining before, and you can then continue to grow it past that if you so wish. What you would then do is to the students who were in your founding student offer, perhaps your first 5 students to form your first group, you can extend them the offer to continue working with you now for another 12 weeks. Okay, so there's more commitment. And if you really wanted to make it a no-brainer for them, you could offer them to use the $100 or £100 or whatever you charge them for the founding member rate. They could put that towards that 12 weeks of tuition, because what's going to happen then, they're going to continue to work with you. You don't have to find new students. They're already there. So you giving them that little bit of a discount is only going to benefit them in the long run because they're going to continue to get even better results. So there's 5 ways that you can use, or steps that you can use to get started and make that transition from teaching to online tutoring in 2025. Now, if you want more guidance and more help on that, and you haven't read my best-selling book, that's going to be a best place for you to start. It's called Teaching on Your Own Terms. It went to bestseller in 7 categories. It was featured by NASDAQ in Times Square, New York City. And I break down with you in more depth the 5 steps to build the online tutoring business of your dreams. I break down how to really identify your ideal student, how to market and advertise, how to build trust with new prospects, so parents and students, what you need to say on new sales calls or consultations with these parents and students, and then also what you actually do inside of your group classes and how you build a group delivery model that can actually scale so you never sacrifice student results online. So if you haven't read it yet, go and pick up your copy. I'll leave a link in the comments down below. And as always, if you like the video, hit subscribe or hit like, and I'll see you in the next one. Go and get that book, Teaching on Your Own Terms, and start building the online teaching business of your dreams today. See you soon.